Deep in the impenetrable rainforests of Africa, a giant roams, spreading the seeds of the forest as he goes. A veritable gardener of the forest. A presentation of the conservation of African forest elephants. Forest elephant is a distinct species from the African bush elephant. It occupies regions of Central and Western Africa, thriving in moist habitats such as swamps and lowland forests. The elephant consumes enormous quantities of fruit, which makes them a keystone species and an important vector of seed dispersal. They lead a nomadic lifestyle, traveling very large distances in social groups in search of food and water. Unfortunately, these gentle giants don't have it easy. The green patches on the map show the exponential loss in populations over 200 years. The only stronghold left can be seen in Gabon and Congo. This is a tragedy for the biodiversity and stability of rainforests in Africa. Main threats to the African forest elephants are habitat fragmentation due to logging, mining, agriculture, and urbanization. This cuts off migratory routes, isolating populations and making them more vulnerable to changes in their delicate habitat. Another risk is poaching. The high demand for ivory increases the inhumane slaughter of elephants. A new risk today is climate change, which increases the pressure on the populations of elephants. I have been fortunate to grow up surrounded by African wildlife, but I was devastated to find that so many of the animals I love are on their way to extinction. Since then, I have dedicated myself to their protection. The African forest elephant is particularly at risk due to poor management, corruption, and poverty. It is also fundamentally important as a rainforest engineer, and it desperately needs our help. To make this project feasible, we'll focus on a particular region which needs our attention. The goal is to create a new stronghold for populations of African forest elephants. For this, we have chosen the Cross River district in Nigeria, which is highly threatened and lacks the adequate management of staff and park boundaries. We'll be using the community-based conservation method, which makes the project rooted in a community, using their ideas and providing them with education and training. There will also be an economic benefit for the locals, creating jobs as rangers and park employees. This will enable the reinforcement of elephant protection by multiplying anti-poaching patrols with the help of the paramilitary unit and by increasing the fencing of vulnerable areas to protect the people and the elephants. On a larger scale, we will create wildlife corridors that will link 5 reserves in the region via protected pathways for the migration of elephants. This will increase the genetic variation and the survival of the populations. Unfortunately, these regions are colonized by agriculture and mining. Therefore, to establish this goal, we will need to make demonstrations to the government to show them the source of the problem. The project will be implemented over a 4-year timeline, allowing for the realistic implementation of both the community-based conservation project and the wildlife corridor program. The budget will be split into 3 parts. A large part will go to the project management and research as well as community-based conservation, and the remainder will be allocated to the wildlife corridor program, which requires more negotiations than funds. The African forest elephant is classified as critically endangered by the IUCN Red List. There has been a decline of over 80% in under 3 generations, and the sources of the problem are current or increasing. There is hope, however. By establishing strict management of protected areas and increasing the number of strongholds, populations can thrive and maintain the fragile balance of the African tropical rainforest.